Welcome to lesson 4. So in this lesson, I'm going to extend the inbuilt user class and I'm going to be creating school class and gender identities. I'm going to be creating school class and gender entities. I'm going to SQL Server Management Studio. So I'm connecting to SQL Server Management Studio. I'm going to task. So I'm going to say generate scripts. I'm right clicking on Smart School ABP. I'm going to task. Say generate scripts. Next. So I'm going to script entire database and all database objects. I'll go to advanced. Then I'm going to, under types of data to script, I'm going to select schema and data. Then click OK. I'm going to say open new query window. Next. So finally, the script has been generated. Now I'm going to change line 4 to create database school, smart school ABP underscore practice. Then I'm going to select line 1 to 4. I'm going to click execute. Then I'm going to delete line 1 to 84. So I'm going to change the new line 1 to use smart school ABP underscore practice. Then I'll drag the cursor down to the last line. So I'll go to line 1603 here. It says use master. I'll leave it. I'll now go to line 1605 here. I'm going to change smart school ABP under line 2. Smart school ABP underscore practice. So I'll click execute. So if I go to databases folder in Object Explorer and I click refresh, so I have this new database, Smart School ABP underscore practice. That's what I'm going to use for this lesson. Now I'm going to my C drive, I'm going to my projects. I'm going to open this solution in Visual Studio by double clicking. I'm going to create a new branch. I'm going to call it extend user entity. Now click create. Continue checkout. So now I'm going to Solution Explorer. I'll expand domain project. I'll create a new folder. I'm going to call it entities. I'll right click on entities folder. I'm going to create a new class. I'm going to call it gender. I'm going to modify the definition of gender class. So this is the new definition of gender class. I want to use full audited aggregate rule. These are the properties, and we have two constructors as well. Go back to Solution Explorer. I'm going to add a new class to entity folders. I'm going to call it school class. I'm going to change the definition to be this. I'm going to use full audited aggregate rule. Second constructor. Switch. Now I'm going to create a new folder again under the domain project. I'm going to call it users. So under this users class, I'm going to create a new class. I'm going to call it app user. And I'm going to modify the definition of app user to be this. Okay. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the entity framework project. So we are going to go to the section that says add DB set properties for your aggregate routes or entities here. And there is an error. Call these app users. Then configure identity. I already have it. So no need. So now to resolve this issue, I'm going to create a new class here. I'm going to call it Smart School DB Context Model Creating Extensions. Now, this is the definition for it. The Smart School DB Context Model Creating Extension. Change this to panel. Let's go genders. Panel underscore school classes. Oh. Now I'm going back to the domain project. I'm going to add a new folder called repositories. So I'm going to add a new class called iGender repository. I'm going to add another class called iSchool class repository. I'm going to open iGender repository and define it as follows. So I've defined iGender repository. So I have defined iGender repository as follows. iSchool class repository. I'm going to define it as follows. Now I'm going to go back to Solution Explorer. I'm going to open the file called smartschool. I'm opening the file called Smart School Domain Module. Then at the top of the depends on, I'm going to add this ABP identity module, Smart School Domain shared module is being repeated twice. I'll remove it. So ABP DD domain module is also being added. Identity domain module has been added below. So let me remove this. That's duplicate. So now I'm going to the entity framework project. So I'm going to inspect this. I'm not doing anything on it, just inspecting. But here I can configure extra properties for the entities defined in the modules used by my app. Now I'm going to right click on the entity framework project. I'm going to select open folder in File Explorer. Then I'm going to type cmd here. So that opens the command line. So I'm going to type this command .NET EF migrations add extended user properties and new entities. The context is Smart School DB context. But before I run that, there is something I want to do before I run the migration. Remember, we created new database at the beginning of the project. So I'm going to the migrator project. I'm going to open app settings.json. So I'm going to change the database connection string to Smart School ABP underscore practice. Then I'm going to go to the API host project. I'm going to change the connection name of the database to Smart School APP underscore practice. Let me build my project, my solution. Let me go back to generating the migration. Press enter. So I need to see the migrations that have been generated before I update the database. So I'm going to open that file. That's the file I opened is add extended user properties and new entities. So these are the migrations that were generated. So it's going to add these columns to the ABP users table. And it's going to create this table below underscore school classes. It's also going to create this table below underscore genders. So now I'll come again here. I'm going to type .NET EF database update context Smart School DB context. Says build succeeded. So it says apply migration. So let's check our database. So let me close this. So let's expand Smart School ABP underscore practice. Let's check our tables. Let's check ABP underscore users table first. Let's expand the columns. So we see that it has added address, date of birth, first name, gender ID, has left school, middle name, school class ID, and user photo. And then let's look for Beno underscore genders. Okay, here is Beno underscore genders table. And here is Beno underscore school classes table. So we have successfully extended the user entity and we have created the gender application entity and the school class application entity. Thank you for watching.